Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Shivani Singh. Diplomacy in 2026 is no longer about the old binaries of East versus West or North versus South. It's about building bridges where the world sees chasms. Today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi departed for a landmark 6-day visit to France and Slovakia, a trip that culminates in what is arguably one of the most critical diplomatic gatherings of the year, the 52nd G7 summit in Evian, France. Before his departure, the Prime Minister left a message that resonated far beyond the borders of India. He framed his mission clearly. India is not just going to the G7 to talk about its own growth story, it is going to serve as the voice for the global South and the nations that are often talked about in international forums but rarely listened to. Now, this isn't a casual visit. It is a dense, high-stakes agenda. The Prime Minister tour is split into 3 strategic legs. First comes Nice, France, where he meets President Emmanuel Macron. This comes just months after the two nations elevated their relationship to a special global strategic partnership. They aren't just talking about defense or trade. They are inaugurating Bharat Innovates, which is a massive initiative to connect the Indian startups with European venture capital. Then a historic stop, Bratislava. This is the first ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister to an independent Slovakia. It's a vital move to deepen India's ties with the European Union, using Slovakia as a key bridge for trade and technology cooperation. And finally, the crown jewel, the G7 summit in Evian. So why is this G7 summit so important for the world right now? Well, let's look at the headlines. We are in a world which is grappling with major geopolitical crises, from the energy supply chain disruptions in West Asia to the race for control over critical minerals. The G7, traditionally the club of the world's most industrialized democracies, is realizing that it cannot solve these problems in a silo. That is why India's presence is not just a gesture, it is a necessity. This marks India's 13th participation at the G7. And for Prime Minister Modi, it is his 7th consecutive appearance. That consistency tells us everything that we need to know. India is now viewed as an indispensable partner in addressing global challenges like AI governance, environmental sustainability, and international security. The Prime Minister's message is clear. India will not only speak for itself, but it will also give voice to the aspirations of the global South. But why does the global South need a voice at the G7? Well, because the concerns of the developing nations, debt distress, climate financing, and equitable access to technology are often sidelined in rooms dominated by the world's wealthiest economies. By taking these issues to the G7 table, India is positioning itself as the bridge builder. It is proving that India's growth isn't a threat to the global order, it is the anchor that can help stabilize. Now from Evian, the Prime Minister will head to Paris for Viva Tech, Europe's largest technology and innovation gathering. India will have its largest ever national pavilion there, signaling that we are not just a market for technology, we are a powerhouse of innovation. This trip is a masterclass in modern diplomacy. It blends the gravitas of global summits with the agility of startup-driven economic partnerships. As the world navigates one of the most turbulent periods in decades, India's message is one of confidence, constructive engagement, and a firm commitment to building a shared future. We'll be tracking all the developments from Evian and beyond. Stay tuned to NewsX for more.